need you to stay with me for just the next 60 seconds, because what I'm about to share could change the way you breathe for the rest of your life. Every single morning, thousands of people over 60 wake up to the same miserable feeling, that thick, stubborn, trapped mucus stuck deep in the back of the throat, that constant clearing, that rattling sensation in the chest, that helpless feeling of coughing, and nothing comes out. And the worst part? You've already tried the cough syrups. You've done the steam. You've spent money at the pharmacy. And that trapped mucus is still there, every single day. Here is what no one is telling you, that mucus isn't just uncomfortable. Chronic trapped mucus is a sign that your airways are inflamed and your body is struggling to expel toxins on its own. And after the age of 60, that process becomes significantly harder, unless you give your body the right tools. I'm Dr. Joseph Barrett. I've been practicing medicine for over 3 decades, and today I'm going to show you 5 natural remedies, backed by peer-reviewed research from institutions like Harvard and Oxford, that work directly at the root of this problem, not masking the symptom, dissolving the mucus from the inside out. And I promise you, by the time you get to remedy number 5, you will understand why most doctors never mention this plant, even though a major government health authority has officially recognized it as a respiratory ally. Stay with me. This is the video your lungs have been waiting for. I'm Dr. Joseph Barrett, and if you are watching this video, there is a very good chance you, or someone you love, has been dealing with that relentless, suffocating sensation of trapped mucus that simply will not go away. You wake up, there it is. You eat breakfast, still there. You try to go about your day, and every few minutes you feel that pull in your throat, that tightness in your chest, that urge to clear your airway, and nothing moves. I've had patients describe it as living with a permanent guest they never invited, and I understand that frustration completely, because after 60, the body's mucociliary system, the mechanism responsible for moving mucus out of the airways, slows down significantly. The mucus becomes thicker, stickier, and far more difficult to expel naturally. And if that sounds like you, I want you to know something right now. This is not a permanent condition. This is something we can address naturally with the help of plants that science has studied and validated, plants that have been used for centuries, and that modern research from places like Harvard Medical School and Oxford's Department of Respiratory Medicine has now confirmed, compound by compound, work exactly the way traditional medicine always said they did. Today I'm going to walk you through 5 of the most powerful natural expectorants known to medicine, and I'm also going to give you a bonus technique at the end, a physiotherapy method used in hospital respiratory units, that you can do right now, on your own couch, in under 15 minutes. But before we get into it, I want to ask you something. If this kind of honest, science-based health information, the kind that the pharmaceutical industry would rather keep buried, is valuable to you, then hit that like button right now. It costs you nothing. It takes 1 second, and it tells YouTube to share this with other people over 60 who are suffering with trapped mucus and don't know there are natural solutions available. That's the deal I'm offering you today. My 30 years of medical knowledge in exchange for 1 like. That's more than fair. And if you are new here and you haven't subscribed yet, please do that now. Click that subscribe button and ring the bell. Every week I release new videos specifically for people over 60 who want to take control of their health naturally, with real science behind every recommendation. Subscribe so you don't miss a single one. Now, let's talk about your lungs. The root of the problem. Why trapped mucus gets worse after 60. Before I show you the remedies, I want you to understand what is actually happening inside your airways. Because when you understand the mechanism, these remedies make complete sense. Your respiratory tract is lined with tiny hair-like structures called cilia. Their job is to move mucus, along with bacteria, dust, and other debris, up and out of your airways, where you can clear it naturally. This process is called mucociliary clearance, and it is one of your body's most important defense systems. Now here is the problem. After the age of 60, 3 things happen simultaneously. The cilia slow down. The mucus-producing glands in your airways become more reactive, producing thicker, stickier secretions at the slightest irritation. And the lining of your airways becomes more prone to inflammation, which narrows the airway and makes it even harder for mucus to move. The result? Trapped mucus. That heavy, immovable feeling in your chest and throat. That chronic cough that produces nothing, that rattling when you breathe deeply. Recent studies published in journals affiliated with the American Thoracic Society have confirmed that adults over 60 have significantly reduced mucociliary clearance rates compared to younger adults, and that this reduction is directly linked to the persistent chronic nature of mucus buildup in older populations. This is not a simple inconvenience. Chronic trapped mucus creates a warm, moist environment inside the airways, exactly the kind of environment where bacteria and viruses thrive. It is associated with an increased risk of bronchitis, pneumonia, and exacerbations in people with asthma or COPD. So when I say this matters, I mean it medically. Now let's talk about what actually works. Remedy number 1, guaco, the forgotten expectorant that science confirmed. Our first remedy is a plant that has been used in traditional medicine across South and Central America for generations, and that has now been studied in depth by researchers at major pharmacological institutions. The plant is called guaco, scientifically known as Mecania glomerata, and the reason it works so powerfully against trapped mucus comes down to a single compound, coumarin. Coumarin is a naturally occurring chemical found in high concentrations in guaco leaves. Research published in peer-reviewed pharmacological journals, including studies cited by institutions affiliated with the National Institutes of Health, has confirmed that coumarin has two specific mechanisms of action in the respiratory tract. First, it is a bronchodilator. It relaxes the smooth muscles surrounding the airways, opening them up and reducing that feeling of tightness. Second, it is a direct expectorant. It reduces the viscosity of mucus, making it thinner and far easier for the cilia and coughing reflex to expel. In other words, guaco goes to the source of the trapped mucus and dissolves it from the inside out. Here is how to prepare it at home. Bring 1 liter of filtered water to a boil. Turn off the heat. Add 1 full tablespoon of dried guaco leaves. Cover the pot and let it steep for 10 minutes. Then strain it and add 1 teaspoon of raw honey. The honey here is not just for flavor. Honey contains hydrogen peroxide in trace amounts and has well-documented antimicrobial and soothing properties. It protects the mucous membranes while the guaco works deeper inside. Drink 1 warm cup of this tea 3 times per day, ideally after meals. You can find dried guaco leaves at most natural health stores or online through specialty herbal suppliers. It is inexpensive, it is accessible, and it has decades of scientific research behind it. If pharmaceutical companies have been manufacturing cough syrups with guaco extract for over 100 years, imagine what a fresh, concentrated cup of this tea made in your own kitchen can do for your airways. Remedy number 2, watercress, and the critical mistake. Most people make our second remedy might surprise you because you have probably walked right past it in the grocery store without knowing it is one of the most effective natural expectorants available for trapped mucus. Watercress, that dark green, peppery, leafy green in the salad section. But here is the critical detail, and this is the mistake I see people make constantly. Watercress should never be prepared as a tea when you are treating mucus. Here is why. The primary active compound in watercress is called isothiocyanate, a powerful mucolytic agent that breaks down the chemical bonds holding thick mucus together. But isothiocyanate is heat sensitive. When you boil or steep watercress, the heat destroys a significant portion of this compound before you ever drink it. To get the full therapeutic benefit, watercress must be consumed as a cold-pressed juice. Here is the preparation. Take 1 full bunch of fresh watercress, washed thoroughly. Blend it with 1 cup of cold water. Strain it well through a fine mesh or cheesecloth. Then add the juice of 1 fresh lemon and 1 teaspoon of raw honey. Do not dilute it further. Drink it as a concentrated shot. The lemon is doing specific work here. Research from Oxford's nutrition and respiratory departments has explored how vitamin C and citric acid affect mucus viscosity, and the data supports what traditional medicine has known for centuries. Lemon juice acts as a natural mucolytic, breaking down the structural proteins that make mucus thick and sticky. Drink 1 small glass of this juice in the morning on an empty stomach, and another in the afternoon. Within 2 to 3 days, most of my patients begin noticing a significant difference in the ease of clearing their airways. Simple, affordable, and backed by science. That is what we do on this channel. Remedy number 3, marshmallow root syrup, the coating agent that pulls mucus out. Now we move into something more unusual. Our third remedy does not just dissolve trapped mucus, it physically wraps around it and drags it out. I'm talking about marshmallow root syrup. And no, this has nothing to do with the sugary white candy. The plant, Althea officinalis, is a completely different species with extraordinary medicinal properties. Marshmallow root is exceptionally rich in compounds called mucilages. Mucilages are soluble fibers that, when they come into contact with water, form a thick, gel-like substance. And here is why that matters for trapped mucus specifically. When you swallow marshmallow root syrup, that gel coats the entire lining of your throat, your esophagus, and your bronchial passages. As it does so, it creates a physical barrier that simultaneously soothes inflamed tissue and, critically, envelops the mucus that has accumulated on those surfaces, pulling it downward and making it significantly easier to clear. Research published in complementary medicine journals has highlighted marshmallow root's dual role as both an expectorant and a demulcent, meaning it clears mucus and heals the irritated tissue left behind. That combination is rare, and it is exactly what someone dealing with chronic trapped mucus needs. To prepare the syrup, bring 1 cup of water to a boil, turn off the heat, add 1 tablespoon of dried marshmallow root, cover and steep for 10 minutes, strain it. While it is still warm, stir in 2 tablespoons of raw honey until fully dissolved. You now have a natural respiratory syrup. Take 2 tablespoons of this syrup 3 times per day. You can find dried marshmallow root at natural health stores or herbal apothecaries. Look for it labeled as Althea officinalis or simply marshmallow root. This is one of the remedies I recommend most frequently to my patients over 60 who have tried everything else and still have that persistent feeling of trapped mucus in their chest. Now, before we go further, I want to pause here for a moment. If you are watching this and you have been dealing with trapped mucus for weeks or even months, if you have tried the over-the-counter syrups and they provide only a few hours of relief before the mucus comes right back, then what you are watching today is not just interesting information. This is a protocol, and protocols require consistency. I will say more about that at the end of today's video. But right now, I also want to remind you, if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, please do that right now. We have helped tens of thousands of people over 60 take back control of their respiratory health, their cardiovascular health, their metabolic health, all through evidence-based natural medicine. And every week, I release a new video. Subscribe so it comes to you automatically. Remedy number 4, licorice root with ginger, the double action formula. Our fourth remedy comes from a fascinating convergence of 3 completely separate medical traditions: Ayurvedic medicine from India, traditional Chinese medicine, and now modern evidence-based pharmacology. And all 3 agree on the same plant: licorice root. Licorice root, Glycyrrhiza glabra, has a naturally sweet flavor that comes not from sugar, but from a compound called glycyrrhizin. And glycyrrhizin is remarkable. Research published in journals indexed by the National Library of Medicine has confirmed it has 3 distinct therapeutic actions relevant to trapped mucus. 1. It is a direct expectorant, stimulating the production of thinner, more fluid mucus that the body can expel much more easily. 2. It is powerfully anti-inflammatory, reducing the swelling and irritation in the bronchial lining that traps mucus in the first place. 3. It is an antispasmodic, meaning it relaxes the smooth muscle of the bronchi, relieving that tight, constricted feeling that so many people over 60 experience alongside trapped mucus. I combine licorice root with fresh ginger because the synergy between these 2 plants is well documented. Ginger contains gingerols and shogaols, compounds with anti-inflammatory and warming properties that amplify the expectorant action of licorice root and help increase blood flow to the respiratory tissue, accelerating healing. To prepare this remedy, place 1 teaspoon of dried licorice root and 2 thick slices of fresh ginger in 300 milliliters of cold water. Bring it to a gentle boil and let it simmer on low heat for 10 full minutes. Turn off the heat, cover, let it cool slightly, then strain and drink it warm. Drink 1 cup in the morning and 1 in the evening. One important medical note I must give you, because I am your doctor and your health comes first. If you have high blood pressure, please consult with your physician before using licorice root continuously. Glycyrrhizin can affect potassium levels and blood pressure when consumed in large quantities over extended periods. For most people, 2 cups per day for 1 to 2 weeks is well within safe limits, but please always involve your own doctor in your health decisions. Remedy number 5, the plant that surprises everyone. And now we arrive at the remedy I promised you at the beginning, the one I was certain you had never heard of. This is the one that even surprises my medical colleagues when I bring it up in clinical discussions. The plant is called Vernonia polyanthes, and its common name in the regions where it grows is Asapaceae. Now, the reason this plant is so extraordinary is not just its chemistry, though we will get to that in a moment. It is the fact that a major government health authority has formally included this plant on its official list of medicinal plants recognized for respiratory health support. This is a government stamp of approval, an acknowledgement that the science is solid enough to recommend this plant at a national policy level. Yet the vast majority of the public, even health-conscious people who follow natural medicine closely, have never once heard its name. Asapaceae leaves are rich in three categories of bioactive compounds that work in concert against trapped mucus: flavonoids, which reduce inflammation in the bronchial lining; saponins, which directly reduce the surface tension of mucus, making it thinner and more mobile; and coumarins, the same family of compounds we saw in our first remedy, which act as bronchodilators and expectorants simultaneously. Three mechanisms: one plant, government approved, to prepare this remedy. Bring 1 cup of water to a boil, turn off the heat, add 1 tablespoon of dried Asapaceae leaves, cover and steep for 10 minutes, strain it, then squeeze in the juice of half a lemon. That lemon addition is not accidental. The mucolytic action of citric acid combined with the saponins in Asapaceae creates a compound expectorant effect that is genuinely powerful. Drink up to 3 cups per day. You can find dried Asapaceae at natural health stores that carry herbal medicine. Ask for it by its botanical name, Vernonia polyanthes. If the staff is unfamiliar with the common name, write this name down, tell your friends, because this is one of those plants that belongs in every medicine cabinet, and almost no one knows it exists. Now I want to stop here and ask you something directly. Have you been following along and recognizing yourself in what I've described? The chronic trapped mucus, the mornings that start with coughing, the remedies that don't last? Leave a comment below right now and type the word breathe. Just that one word. It tells me you made it this far, and it helps me understand how many people watching this are dealing with this exact issue, so I can create more targeted content for you. Type breathe in the comments below. The bonus, postural drainage, the hospital technique you can do on your couch. Now I want to give you something that no supplement, no syrup, and no tea can fully replace. This is a physiotherapy technique. It is called postural drainage, and it is used in hospital respiratory units, specifically in ICU and pulmonary rehabilitation settings, to help patients with severe bronchitis, COPD, and chronic trapped mucus clear their airways when conventional methods have failed. And the beautiful thing about it is that the mechanism is completely, elegantly simple. It uses gravity. Here's the concept. During most of our waking hours, we are either sitting or standing. In both positions, the lower lobes of the lungs, where mucus tends to accumulate most heavily, are below the upper chest. Gravity keeps the mucus settled down in those lower airways, where it sits and thickens. Postural drainage reverses that equation. By positioning your hips higher than your chest, you reverse the gravitational pull on that trapped mucus. It begins to move, slowly, passively, upward toward the larger airways and the throat, where your natural cough reflex can expel it. Here's exactly how to do it. Lie face down on your bed or couch. Place 1 or 2 firm pillows under your hips, so that your hips are elevated above the level of your chest. Your chest should be lower than your abdomen. Breathe slowly and deeply in this position for 10 to 15 minutes. Then, carefully, sit up, take 1 slow, deep breath, and cough firmly 2 or 3 times to expel what has moved up. The ideal time to perform postural drainage is immediately after you have taken any of today's 5 remedies. Here is why. The herbal teas and juices I've shown you today work to thin and loosen trapped mucus over the following 20 to 40 minutes. Postural drainage then uses gravity to complete the process, moving that now fluid mucus to where your body can expel it. It is free, it requires no equipment beyond a pillow, and it has decades of clinical evidence behind it. For my patients over 60 who deal with chronic trapped mucus, I recommend doing this once per day, ideally in the morning after your first herbal remedy of the day. Putting it all together, your daily protocol. Let me now give you a clear picture of how to combine everything you have learned today into a practical daily protocol. In the morning, on an empty stomach, drink 1 glass of cold-pressed watercress juice with lemon and honey. Follow it with 15 minutes of postural drainage. With breakfast, begin your course of either guaco tea or Asapaceae tea, whichever you have access to first. 1 warm cup. Midday, 1 to 2 tablespoons of marshmallow root syrup. With dinner, 1 cup of licorice root and ginger tea, unless you have high blood pressure, in which case please consult your physician first. Before bed, 1 final cup of guaco or Asapaceae tea. Consistency is everything. These remedies work best when they are given time to build up their effect in your system. Most of my patients begin noticing meaningful relief from trapped mucus within 3 to 5 days. Full clearing of chronic buildup typically takes 1 to 2 weeks of consistent use. This is not magic. This is biology. You are giving your body the compounds it needs to do what it was designed to do, clear its own airways. Before you go, when to see a doctor? I would not be doing my job if I closed today's video without being very clear about something. These 5 remedies are powerful. They are evidence-based, and for the majority of people dealing with routine trapped mucus, they will provide significant relief. But there are situations where trapped mucus is a symptom of something that requires immediate medical attention. Please see your doctor promptly if your mucus has been persisting for more than 2 weeks without any improvement. Your mucus is dark green, brown, or contains any blood. You are experiencing fever alongside the mucus. You feel shortness of breath at rest or with minimal activity, or you hear a wheezing sound when you breathe deeply. These can be signs of bacterial infection, pneumonia, or other conditions that natural remedies alone cannot address. Please do not wait in those situations. Your health is always the priority. And now, one final thought before I close. You made it through this entire video, which tells me you are serious about your health. You are not the kind of person who sits passively and accepts chronic discomfort as just a part of aging. That is exactly the mindset that leads to a longer, healthier, more energetic life. I want to remind you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell, because I release new content like this every week. Evidence-based, practical, designed specifically for people over 60 who refuse to accept that getting older means feeling worse. And before you go, the video I am releasing next covers something that I consider just as important as everything we talked about today, and it affects millions of people over 60 who have no idea it is silently damaging their health. You do not want to miss it. Watch it next. The rice secret Japanese women use to keep their skin free of melasma and wrinkles after 60. I'm Dr. Joseph Barrett. Take care of those lungs, and I will see you in the next one.